Iraq and Dinarland stuff December 16, 2016. From Admin Bill, Delta, Mad Scout and Iraqi News. From Admin Bill. Today starts the window of necessity that sources have mentioned must be dealt with to access certain assets to complete the process. I will leave my window through January open with a prayer for us all that this truly is the end. From Delta December 16, 2016. The Iraqi constitution does not allow parliament to add any kind of articles to the budget. They can either refuse it, or send it back to modify things they don't like. They cannot add to it. There was a lot of discussions, arguments, and basically every group in parliament wanted to add something, so they added 10 to 15 new articles. They approved the budget and they basically sent it to the president. He is supposed to sign it, and then it goes into the Gazette. But a lot in the government and the Kurds didn't like it, but Abadi did something very smart. The government is not going to refuse it. They are going to wait until the budget is published in the Gazette. The added articles shouldn't interfere with the budget, and the things they don't like, they are going to the Supreme Court to fight only those articles. But if those articles are okay, and they won't cost them more money, they'll let it go and pass it. For Abadi, it's a win-win situation. From Frank 26. We told you there was a time period, the 11th, 12th, and the 13th, we felt there would be some meetings. The meetings, very big, people from all over the world. Based on those who went there, guesstimate, it was a very good meeting. Abadi was at those meetings. The UST and the IMF and UN were there. They did a lot of work in these meetings about the MR of their currency. I do believe that they have decided on a rate and a date. I believe that they have a target. I do not talk to you about the 15th to the 31st, because it may not take that long, I believe they are pushing for 2016. I've said, give me Mosul and you'll see the MR monetary reform. Do you think they have Mosul? I wouldn't say 100%, but do they have enough to proclaim that it's basically liberated? It's going very well. Syria and Iraq's borders are secure. Mosul will bring security for the MR. Abadi is going to give you Mosul family, and the budget of 2017. The budget wasn't passed, they added things that was unconstitutional, can't go any further without the budget. The IMF review, part of it was huge for the MR, it said that they lifted the restrictions of the exchange rate, but they have to wait for the budget. The HCL, which is in the budget, is not done yet, and won't be until the budget is done. They've been given a specific amount of time to get it done. Will they finish the budget? Heck yes. Abadi is moving things on to resolve the budget so not to cause a delay. Anything can flip within a few hours. It's going to happen. Abadi has made it clear. We will have a budget this year. I believe that budget needs a new rate. So, float or fixed rate. It's a process of many steps, but we are past first base, we are rounding third base, heading into a home run. Don't be looking for an announcement or celebrations on the street. It's a process, not an event. It will be a process, the RI into a RV. From Iraqi News. December 16, 2016. U.S. sues to recover ancient Syrian artifacts looted by Islamic State. Reuters, the U.S. government is suing to recover 4 ancient Syrian artifacts it believes were trafficked by Islamic State, U.S. officials said on Thursday, a tiny fraction of the plundered antiquities likely to have passed through the jihadist group's hands. Islamic State used the mayhem of war to establish a lucrative trade in stolen relics dug up from the territory it controlled in Syria and Iraq, which includes remnants of some of the world's oldest and most culturally rich civilizations, according to archaeological experts. U.S. Department of Justice officials filed a complaint in U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia on Thursday seeking the forfeiture of the antiquities, including a gold ring with a carved gemstone, 2 gold coins, and a Neo-Assyrian stone stela, together worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The suit, believed to be the first of its kind, is meant to signal to art collectors, dealers, and auction houses around the world that they're on notice, that they need to be vigilant, and that they need to take steps to ensure that their purchases aren't either knowingly or unknowingly supporting ISIL's terrorist activities, said Andrew Keller, a counter-threat finance official at the State Department, using an acronym for Islamic State. The FBI warned last year there was evidence that collectors had been offered artifacts plundered by Islamic State. Unscrupulous dealers can dupe unwitting collectors who often are not antiquities experts, said Robert Whitman, who founded the Federal Bureau of Investigation's art crime team and now works as a private consultant on art security. It's not so much the collector who's really creating a problem, it's the unscrupulous dealer who has an artifact that doesn't have proper provenance, Whitman said. And if there's a provenance that's created for it, how is a customs official going to know? U.S. officials learned of the items detailed in Thursday's lawsuit through documents seized in a May 2015 U.S. raid in Syria targeting Abu Sayyaf, a top Islamic State finance official and Tunisian militant whose real name was Fathi Ben-On Ben-Jildi Murad al-Tunisi. During the raid, there was a lot of electronic media that was recovered, and these are not the only 4 items that were on that media that we are going after, said Assistant U.S. Attorney Arvin Lal. U.S. officials on Thursday also released documents seized from the raid that depict a sophisticated system used to process and manage the trade in antiquities. They show that Abu Sayyaf, who led Islamic State's Antiquities Division, levied a 20% tariff on local merchants who brought the items to Islamic State, and the payments were documented. Officials said it was difficult to know how many ancient relics have passed through Islamic State control, making it hard to assess the total cultural loss to Syria and Iraq. Syria's border with Turkey, believed to be a major stop on the smuggling route, is porous, though Turkish officials have seized thousands of antiquities over the last several years, U.S. officials said. At the height of its territorial reach, U.S. officials estimate, Islamic State controlled about 5,000 archaeological sites, though it has lost significant territory in the last year. In addition to ransacking sites for loot, Islamic State also destroyed some sites in northern Iraq and Syria, posting photos and videos of fighters destroying pre-Islamic monuments and temples they consider idolatrous. Islamic State recaptured the ancient Syrian city of Palmyra, a 2,000-year-old UNESCO World Heritage Site, this month after losing it in March. The last time it had control over the city, Islamic State blew up 2 ancient shrines. As soon as it's in the Gazette, it's basically law, taking effect in January. Next, the IMF, looks like good news, they lifted the restrictions from the exchange rate. Because they are not Article 8, they can't go with the program rate. They need currency reform. They have no choice. Currency reform must take place in order for them to go international. Investors must be able to move money into dinars, and now by lifting the IMF restrictions, they will be able to. Alak says they are not going to float the currency. He is stating he is going to lift the restrictions from the exchange rate, free float is not really in their plans. Finally, the ATMs, unlike the old ATMs, the new ones will take the LDs. If they don't increase the value, give an incentive to the citizens, they won't get the currency off of the street. The CBI will increase the value before they introduce the LDs. We are really close. My humble opinion, we should see the rate moving before the end of the year because the CBI told us so. This plan was set a long time ago, before Shavibi, all part of the plan. The CBI's intention is to raise the IQD to its former glory. They are talking about over $3, but they said that will take a little time. This is their goal, but they have to start somewhere. The rate has to move, sometime this year, based on what the CBI told us. All good news, all positive news. The CBI is really very quiet right now, and that is a good indication that they will do something. Watch for the next 24 to 48 hours, something is up. We are waiting to see something official. From Mad Scout. December 16, 2016. Article, Parliament will vote on the federal budget for 2017. This is the after report on the vote in Parliament. This is just a way different budget, in my opinion, than we have seen in budgets of the past. None of them had the kind of activate the private sector talk that seems to be a part of this one. Especially if you know that, what we as investors are waiting on is the activation in full of all reforms. Many of these are in various states of completion. Some being done, some waiting on certain parameters to be met, i.e. budget vote. Complete GOI? MO, with the signing off agency being the IMF. So for those who feel this can drag on, just remember, they are being directed and guided by IMF, and for IMF to sign off, they need accomplish those things stipulated. And thanks for myqdcalls.com.